We've got some breaking news right now. The NYPD confirms that police are responding to reports of a helicopter crash in the Hudson River in New York City. Let's go to Aaron Katersky on the phone with the latest. Aaron, you've been tracking this. What can you tell us?
I'm right by the banks of the Hudson River on the New York side, Terry. The NYPD says the helicopter with passengers aboard went down closer to the New Jersey side of the river. Right now, I see police and fireboats in the water assisting with the search and rescue. You may be able to hear sirens behind me. A number of emergency vehicles have been racing down the West Side Highway adjacent to the river to aid in the response, but it is closer to the New Jersey side. I have a good view of where it appears the helicopter went down. According to police sources, there are believed to be fatalities in the water and on the helicopter itself, but we don't have an exact number just yet, Terry.
And Aaron, is there any information about who might have been on this helicopter? I know a lot of there are tourist trips up and down the Hudson River in a helicopter to see New York's magnificent skyline. There are all kinds of business people up and down the river all the time. Is there any indication of what kind of chopper this was up there?
No, and no telling which kind yet, although it's believed to be a passenger helicopter, not a law enforcement helicopter, according to sources. Terry, as you say, there is a heliport right across the river in New York from where the chopper went down. A number of different points where a helicopter could take off for, as you say, a skyline tour or to take businessmen to the airport. Helicopters in the sky, not unusual here. And from time to time, there are accidents, but no telling who was on board this one, but it was believed to be occupied, and there are believed to be fatalities.
You know, we all remember the plane that landed safely in the Hudson several years ago. Now, how common are air disasters over that river? And I know there have been proposals to get a better control of the airspace over that river.
There have indeed, and there was a tourist helicopter that collided with a plane and crashed back into the river with tourists. I think they were from Italy, if I remember correctly. This was a number of years ago during the Bloomberg administration, and we've seen other incidents involving helicopters. The water is quite cold, as you might imagine, Terry. So depending on how long people may have been in there, survivability is going to be an issue. From my vantage point across the river, I can see a ton of emergency vehicles and boats in the water. Several helicopters are circling the crash site. There was what looks like a cargo ship in the Hudson that's been stalled so as not to create any wake. And a number of ferry boats, commuter ferry boats, have been brought to bear in case they're needed. But right now, it looks like they're staying put. They don't want to disturb or cause any chop in the water.
Okay, Aaron, thank you very much for that. We're now hearing that at least 4 people were on board that helicopter. That's according to the Fire Department of New York. Let's bring in our John Nance, our aviation consultant, longtime pilot and author. So, John, you know, this is a nightmare scenario, especially how cold this was. And what Aaron is telling us is that it does seem like there were people on board that helicopter. The first thing is to try and get them out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only because of the potential for hypothermia, which sets in at about 30 to 45 minutes, but also because the river is moving, and you want to get people out before they get too far downstream. We don't know yet what might be the cause of it. It's very distressing when a helicopter goes down. They look so fragile, and yet they are a mainstay of air transportation around the world, and you don't have accidents like this literally every day.
You do have them from time to time in New York City. We were talking about just the volume of helicopter traffic up and down and around Manhattan and out to Long Island as well. This is the nightmare scenario, and no indication. I mean, look, the conditions look cold, cloudy. There's been some rain and wind, but nothing out of the ordinary, right?
That's correct. And on an average day like this, as I say, hypothermia is a consideration. You remember when Captain Sullenberger put his airplane in, one of the things that they were working against was time and the number of people who were soaked and getting very, very chilled out there. But if they got them out of the water, they were okay.
And this is a multi-agency response right away. You see fire department, police, you've got aviation units up above. You've got boats coming from everywhere. There's ground units as well responding, doing their best in a very, very difficult situation.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that kind of instant response, if you had to go down someplace, that's a pretty good place to go down in the water when you've got all the different assets that can get to you rapidly. What it sounds like to me, though, is that there was something that interdicted the helicopter's ability to stay in the air. Otherwise, you can have it auto gyro down without an engine, or in other ways, land gently in the water.
So you're saying that if you have trouble and you have control over the helicopter, you can bring it down. But are you saying there might have been some kind of collision, a bird strike or something like that?
Could have been a whole bunch of things, and it could be just an internal failure of the aircraft itself. But a helicopter has the ability to have its engine go out and still be able to make a soft landing on water or on land. The fact that we've already got indications, not confirmed, of fatalities indicates to me that there was probably something that interdicted its ability to stay in the air.
And one person who was on board, we're told, has been rescued. So somebody managed to get out. I guess you can see part of it still above the water line. So, there may be an air pocket in there. There may be a way to get at people who might have survived going into the river.
Yeah, the bigger the helicopter, the more difficult that can be. So if this is one with 4 or 5 people in it, it probably was more in the line of a Bell Jet Ranger or something of that nature. That would not be too difficult to get people out. A larger helicopter, a heavier one, that would present a different problem.
And the Coast Guard is on the scene as well. So you've got divers, you've got people who are very good at doing whatever can be done at this moment to rescue people, if possible, inside that helicopter. One already rescued from the water, seems to have made it out somehow. Once again, there's no word on what kind of helicopter this is. There are tourist helicopters, there are commuter helicopters, there's all kinds of helicopters in and around New York City. This happened really within the last hour, and you can see the response there. John, I hate to ask this, but what's the time frame for getting somebody out? Is there a rule around this?
If you've got somebody who's in the water, their head's above water, and they're treading water, then again, it's about 30 to 45 minutes before you hit a thing called the time of useful consciousness, the hypothermia element of just making you ineffective and continuing to keep yourself afloat. If you're in the water and unconscious, that has its own potential, of course, for drowning. It's just hard to say. If the airplane or if the helicopter came down fairly gently, and possibly that's what happened here for one person to survive, then it's a matter of plucking them out of the water after they've gotten out of the cabin. But I don't think they'd still be in the cabin very long.
Why not?
Yeah, well, you'd want to get out as fast as you can. If the pilot was still conscious and useful, he would be getting them out. And again, if it's a lighter helicopter, then it's not going to directly impede your ability to get doors open and pull people out. Not like a heavy copter, for instance, like a Huey, a UH-1, or something of that nature.
Got it. All right, John Nance, stand by. Thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll have continuing coverage after this.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed.
Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas,
Edinburgh, Scotland.
from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home?
We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City.
Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky,
Minneapolis,
Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska.
getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
The Amateur in IMAX.
I want to find and kill the people who murdered my wife. They're just a nerdy fellow that likes to work on computers. But the CIA did nothing.
Take him off the board. Everyone has their breaking point.
Word on how many of those four might have died in this crash. Authorities are still on the scene. This is an active rescue operation. They are hoping to get to people who were on that helicopter, though authorities have said that this is a deadly crash. The helicopter going down just a short time ago. For those of you who know New York City, this is the Hudson River, and the crash was sort of in line with Pier 40, if you know Manhattan, though on the New Jersey side of the Hudson River. I want to bring in Lauren Glassberg, a reporter for Channel 7 WABC here in New York. Lauren, what have you learned? And in addition to that, I know that you've had a chance to talk with some eyewitnesses. What did they see? I'm not hearing Lauren. We'll go to Aaron Katursky, our chief investigative correspondent. Aaron, can you hear me?
I can hear you, David. I'm right across from the crash site. The helicopter went down closer to the New Jersey side of the Hudson River. It was carrying at least 4 people, according to the New York City Fire Department. Law enforcement sources tell us, David, there are believed to be fatalities. It's not clear how many. Right now, I see a number of emergency vehicles, fire and police boats trying to assist in the rescue effort, and a number of the commuter ferries have paused operations. There's what looks to be some kind of a cargo ship that isn't moving. They don't want to create any additional wake in the water, David.
Aaron Katursky, our chief investigative correspondent, also there on the scene for us. And I can tell you what Lauren Glassberg was reporting on WABC just moments ago here in New York, that witnesses saw this helicopter come down, and someone reported seeing part of that helicopter actually breaking off before it hit the water. Again, a deadly helicopter crash in the Hudson here in New York. At least 4 people on board. It's unclear, though, how many are casualties here. Our coverage will continue. ABC News Live, abcnews.com. For many of you, your local news is standing by. And, of course, I'll be back at 6:30 with the entire team for World News Tonight. I'm David Muir in New York. Good day.
This has been a special report from ABC.